Hola Pip, ¿cómo estás? Acá te dejo el resumen de lo último que conversamos para que trabajes estos días que yo estoy afuera. La verdad que mirando el swing se ven cosas muy buenas, ¿no? Que estás haciendo unos buenos avances en cuanto a la forma de hacer el swing. Y como te dije otro día, cada vez estamos más cerca, así que hay que creer que se puede, ¿no? No estar dudando o pensar que en algún momento tiene que venir la mano. Lo primero que quiero que revises es acordate con respecto a la posición inicial, sé cuidadoso con la alineación. Siempre, siempre, siempre tenés la tendencia que tus hombros apunten más a la derecha, hombros y brazos apunten más a la izquierda, perdón, de la línea del objetivo. Eh, Eso se genera básicamente porque la posición inicial sueles tener tu pie derecho cerrado y el izquierdo abierto hacia el objetivo. O sea, el izquierdo con la punta hacia adentro, el derecho con la punta hacia adentro y el izquierdo bastante abierto. Entonces, el resto de tu cuerpo tiende a apuntar hacia la izquierda. Trata de que todas las líneas de tu cuerpo se estén paralelas al objetivo y sobre todo, ya lo hablamos la otra vez, fíjate si podés tener los pies, las puntas de los pies abiertas constantemente hacia ambos lados. Pie derecho sobre todo un poco más la punta abierta. Eso es lo inicial. Que te pongas con los pies, te pongas con los pies en la posición correcta y de ahí ver que todas las líneas del cuerpo se pongan bien. Desde ahí lo siguiente es la posición del backswing. Creo que en eso hemos manejado, lo has mejorado muchísimo. Es un backswing perfecto, buen giro de hombros, perfecta la posición del palo arriba. Y de acá recordar que los dos ajustes que hemos hecho son: uno, esa sensación de, recordás que hemos puesto acá algo arriba de la pelota para que tengas la sensación de meterte por debajo. Entonces, buscar esa sensación de que el cuerpo se queda inclinado. A ver. Ahí, tener la sensación de que el cuerpo se queda inclinado y gira alrededor de ese eje, haciendo que el palo vaya hacia abajo y se meta por abajo de la pelota. Acordate la sensación esa de pegar por debajo de algo, que lo podemos hacer con la varita que hicimos ahí, abajo en el piso. Y mantener, la idea es que el palo pegue hacia abajo y se mantenga un tramo importante pegadito al piso. Esa es la imagen. Y reteniendo el ángulo de las muñecas, pego hacia abajo y mantengo durante el tramo amplio el palo bajito. En el mismo momento que hago eso, la cadera va a ir abriendo hacia la izquierda. Y eso lo vas a observar como se nota acá al deslizar por abajo el trabajo que hace el izquierdo, como gira sobre el talón hasta terminar. Entonces, básicamente esos son los aspectos. Trabajar mucho en la posición inicial, que las líneas de tu cuerpo estén perfectas. Ya no marques tan hacia la izquierda, salvo que sea imprescindible. Backswing lo hacemos igual que siempre, no muy largo, y ahí la sensación de pasar por debajo, de hacer un swing con un tramo largo pegado al piso y de ahí terminar. Si es posible que no haya release de muñecas, ¿sí? Mantener esa posición hasta, te diría, acá arriba, con los brazos mantenido igual que antes y el palo está ahí sin girar. No queremos que gire, ese movimiento no, mantenemos la cara del palo hacia arriba todo el tiempo, encuadrado todo el tiempo. Lo que hacemos es girar los hombros y las caderas, off, ahí, sin girar la cara del palo. Bueno, espero que te voy a tratar de buscar un par de drills para que hagas. Espero que esté clarita la explicación y te pongo un par de swings de driver también para que compares. A ver qué te parece.
Ya, pero va poqueado.
Bueno, acá vemos el swing de driver del otro día. ¿Cuáles eran las ideas de esto? La primera es que sí o sí el driver igual le vas a pegar. Fíjate esta imagen. Y vamos a buscar tener la sensación de golpear hacia arriba, de darle a la pelota spin, top spin, con el movimiento de las piernas y caderas. Pegar, este es el gesto técnico que estamos buscando, pegar de abajo hacia arriba. Es lo que te digo, el tema de las manos, es que ahí no rotan las manos. Fíjate hasta qué posición ha llegado, sin rotar las manos. Entonces, este era el movimiento importante, esa descarga, la mezcla de rotación y descarga de la cadera provocando top spin. Y después lo mismo que hablamos en los hierros, estar bien derecho, más todavía que pese a hacer un swing de fade. Recordad que con el driver tenemos que entrar un poco de adentro hacia afuera, no necesitamos cortar tanto la pelota, y entonces la alineación es clave. El backswing el mismo que estamos haciendo, por ahí un pelito más corto, pero ahí está el límite, se ve bien. Y la sensación de acelerar, acordate, de acá empieza tu swing, ahí. El movimiento que hago abriendo la cadera, lanzando los brazos hacia abajo, y desde esa posición el pegarle subiendo, que es la clave para generar el spin que estamos buscando. Entonces, bueno, te voy a buscar ejercicios para todas estas cosas. Ir trabajando así, sobre todo empezar a buscar un nivel de perfección, no tratando de evitar errores, sino ya empezar a pensar en lograr tiros más cercanos a lo perfecto. Te mando un abrazo, nos vemos a la vuelta. Ahí te dejo todos los videos para que puedas trabajar. Chao. Mandame videos y vamos a ver.
Hey there, Revolution golfers. Andrew Rice here on the lesson tee at the Western Savannah Harbour Resort. I do appreciate you tuning in today. What's the magic word when it comes to golf instruction? Certainly the most popular word that people use when they come to this tee for a 3-day golf school with me is the word consistency. And today I've got a tip that I'm going to share with you to really bring a measure of consistency. I like to use the word predictability. It's going to bring a measure of predictability to your ball striking. And this is what I'm getting at right here. Too often When golfers are coming into impact, I see this trail arm, my right arm in my case, I see this trail arm straighten. And what happens is the elbow comes away from the side, and that allows the golfer to really create a lot of flip and a lot of unnecessary face twist, unnecessary face rotation. And if you think about it, the reason why any golfer of all abilities hits shots offline is because they struggle to control the club face angle right through that impact interval. So this tip is all about being more predictable, more consistent, and managing that club face angle. So a cool little drill here to stop the flips, to stop that right arm, in my case that trail arm, from overly extending prior to impact. Of course, as we swing through, we want that trail arm extended. But you'll notice, if I just take my grip, I've just got an 8-iron in my hand here, and I swing my arms to my back side, my lead arm stays straight, my trail arm gets some bend. If I don't rotate my chest on the way back, that still happens. If I don't rotate my chest on the way through, my trail arm goes straight and my lead arm bends. So what we want, okay, what we want is we want to be able to keep this trail arm bent as flexed as possible for as long as possible. So the key is we've got to get our body working, because watch this. If I go lead arm parallel to the ground, you'll notice my trail arm has got some bend in it. But if I don't rotate my body on the way through, look at how soon that trail arm extends. I want this trail arm to remain bent. I want it to keep some flex in it all the way through impact. So here we go. Get yourself set up. You don't need to hit these shots hard. I'm a big fan of getting a feel for the motion before we ramp up the speed. So we don't need to hit these very hard. Just an 8-iron. Lead arm to parallel. Got some bend in that trail arm. So what I want to do is I want to feel like I'm going to keep that amount of bend in my trail arm all the way through impact. What do I need to do? You'll notice I've really got to rotate my chest and my body there. That's going to enable me to control that face that much better. So here we go. Back to here, a little pump down to impact, really feeling my chest rotate through impact. And I'm not going to hit this very hard because I don't ever want to lose the flex in my trail arm. I want to hit these little shots where I just feel like I keep the bend all the way through. So here we go. To there, and not very good, a little thin. Didn't quite get all the way down to the ground, and that's the key. You've got to get your body working properly through this. Let's try this again. To there. That was much better. Okay, so you can tell there, not very hard, but I want to get your body working properly so that your arms can do the right thing and allow you to start to manage the club face better. Consistency. There, keep the bend in the trail arm, rotate, 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 rotate all the way through without letting those arms extend. That's going to help you with that consistency. If you would like to be a more consistent golfer in 2018, I'd love to host you here for a 3-day golf school. Check it out. If you do have any questions, leave them below. I'll respond to as many as I can. Revolution golfers, thanks for tuning in. Andrew Rice here on the lesson tee at the Western Savannah Harbor Resort. And today I'm going to help you with controlling your golf ball. And we're going to control our golf ball by controlling the club face through impact. That's the really, really important part that so many of us golfers miss, is we're hitting shots that go left, that go right, because we're struggling to control the club face through impact. And my experience, my teaching experience in certainly talking to a lot of fabulous coaches, a lot of golf scientists, is one of the most important things we can do. There are no guarantees that will say, hey, if you do this, the club face will be perfect every time. But there certainly are things we can implement into our golf swing that are going to allow us to better manage the club face angle through impact. And one of those prime key factors is getting your body open at the moment that impact occurs. This is a picture I see all too often in my 3-day golf schools that thankfully so many of you Revolution golfers have chosen to attend, is at impact, there's a little bit of stand up, and I see this look. Notice how both of my arms are very straight. My chest hasn't rotated around quite enough. It hasn't opened up. Well, think about this. If my body at impact, if my chest in particular at impact is more closed than it was at address, what's going to get the club face around? Notice how I've got to go this way. And that all of a sudden heightens the golfer's need to rely on timing. We don't want to ever rely on timing, because timing, as most of us know, lasts for 5 or 6 or 7 holes. And we can go along and we're really, really good for those first 6 or 7 holes, and then we pile over the edge of the cliff and that score really goes in the wrong direction. So how can we manage the face better? By getting our body to rotate through impact better. So here we go. I would like us to go back to what I call halfway back, left arm parallel to the ground. From there, we're going to rotate through and we're going to get a sense of impact. And I would love for you to feel, you set up to this ball, take left arm parallel to the ground, and now I'm going to bring the sweet spot of this golf club down to this golf ball. And you'll notice, particularly from down the line here, how my chest is open. I kind of like that I've got a blue fronted jacket on, a great ping jacket, and it's black on the back. In this picture, notice how you can see some of the blue. Well, if I get my chest in the right position, blue's all gone, okay? And that's what I want you to do. Left arm parallel to the ground, one feel. We're gonna come down, make sure the sweet spot's right behind the back of the ball. That chest is nice and open. I don't care if this lead leg is fully extended or it still has some flex in it. I typically have some flex in it. There are great players who have it extended by the time impact occurs. That doesn't matter really, as long as we're getting open. So stop talking and let's hit this thing, Andrew. There, feel that sweet spot right behind the ball. And I've really got a sense there of rotation. I want to make sure that at impact, my chest and my hips are more open to the target than they were at address. That's something that's really, really important. If you can practice that little drill and just understand the importance, become more aware of what it's going to mean to your ball striking and your ability to control the golf ball by getting your body more open at impact. All the best players in the world do it. I think you should try to do it too. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. I'll respond to as many as I can. Hi Revolution golfers, this is Andrew Rice out here on the Western Savannah Harbor lesson tee. I appreciate you listening in to what I have to say today. Have you ever tried to hit down on the golf ball? Have you ever worked towards swinging out? Have you ever tried to keep your back towards the target? Today I'm going to share some information with you that might challenge that direction that you've been working in your golf swing. But the main idea I want to get across is the value of attack angle and how we get, for these shots that we hit off the ground, how we get the sole of this club working a little more in harmony with the ground. Now, attack angle, PGA Tour average with a 7-iron is around 4 degrees down. Let's keep in mind those tour players will swing a lot faster than most of us. They'll have a lot more ball speed, which will cause the ball to continue its climb for a much longer time than our golf ball as it leaves our club face. So what do we need? I much prefer for us to have a shallow angle of attack, one where we get the club almost skimming the ground. I'm not a big fan of divots. If you're taking divots, that's okay. If you're taking gouging divots, then we certainly need to make an upgrade, pun intended. Not that I want you to hit up on the golf ball, I just want you to shallow out that angle of approach. So think about this. As we look at studies, research that have been conducted on how these top players swing the club, what we found is that the butt end of the club, the handle of the club, as the club head hits the ball, the handle is actually traveling upward, forward, and inward. Keep in mind, 3D, okay? So all we've got to pay attention to is the fact that the handle is traveling up away from the ground, okay? And that's the big part and the big message I want to get across. Keep in mind, a lot of people will go, well, if the handle's coming up, surely I'm going to thin a lot of shots. And that's not necessarily the way it works, simply because this club also works in 3D. If we get the handle of the club going up, notice how that club head typically wants to go down. So on the way through, I would love to see all of us feel like we're gonna open up our chest. We're gonna feel like this lead shoulder really works up and around. That'll certainly get the handle working up and away from the ground. And what that does is it tends to shallow out my attack angle. Why do we want a shallower attack angle if we don't have a club speed commensurate with that of a PGA Tour player? Because we need to hit the ball higher, we need to launch the ball higher, we need to crisp up our hit. We want to get as much energy as possible into that golf ball to help it go. Who wouldn't want that? So a little exercise. Get yourself set up. I've just got a 7-iron in my hand here. I'm going to set up inside the ball. I'm going to put the club on the ground. Let's call it 2.5 feet behind where I would normally have it. And you can tell I've almost got to reach down to get the sole of the club on the ground. And from there, this is the drag drill. I'm just going to drag this along the ground all the way through impact. And what you really should start to be able to see is, I'm going to grip down on this, is how the handle of the club is really working upward, okay? So that thought of hitting down happens. That idea of getting the club head to travel in to out happens. So you'll notice here, as I grip down on the club, how the handle is working up and in, and the club head at the same time is actually working down and out. And that's really what we want if we want to hit shallow angle of attack draws. So a feel, club on the ground, rotate that body open, feel that handle come up, and then I'm just going to hit some little soft ones. You know me, I always like to hit these soft ones to get the feel, where I'm really trying to sense that I get the handle, the butt end of the club, pulling up away from the ground. That doesn't mean I'm going to break my arms. I'm going to use my body pivot, my body chest rotation to get that handle working up and off the ground. Very simple little feel here. I don't want anybody standing up. I don't want anyone pulling the club, the entire club up. I just want that handle pivoting up. Here we go. Nice little one. That was a little better. Okay, and that's the feel, that little impact drag drill there. Club on the ground, 2 to 2.5 feet behind the ball. Drag it through impact, feeling, allowing really the handle to work up and in. You can still hit shots off the ground with a slightly descending angle of attack. The club head can be traveling in to out. You'll hit those crisp, higher, longer baby draws. I know you'll enjoy that. I certainly would. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'll get to as many as I can.